guys look good. Listen, I'm excited to be in church today. I'm a little extra happy today, so just you kind of have to buckle up. I'm a little extra happy because the Ravens are playing the Steelers at 1 o'clock today. Come on, somebody. And I'm happy because the game hasn't happened yet, which means the Ravens haven't lost yet. We've lost like 7,500 games in a row. Anyway, any Eagles fans in the room? Any Eagles fans? Listen, speaking of, I know you all lost last night, but speaking of the year of the comeback, you all are in the playoffs. You made the playoffs. Now, you're not going to make it past round one, but you made the playoffs, all right? So, anyway, hey, if this is your first Sunday here, you should just know that we are officially a Baltimore Ravens church. But we'll allow anyone to come here, which is why all these Eagles fans are here. But we are really, really glad that you're here. If this is your first time here, a big shout out to everybody online. So glad you are with us. Chris Turnbull, I'm giving my shout out to you today. Chris is one of our main volunteers, and he's also an EMS guy, and so he's working today right now, but he's watching us online. So can you guys give it up for Chris and all our first timers? Chris. That's awesome. Well, if you weren't here last weekend, we started this new series called The Year of the Comeback. And for you who were here last weekend, you actually came back. And that's a win for me right there. And so if you weren't here there last weekend, this message from last weekend is a pretty important message, I feel like. And we're going to kind of dive really back into some of the similar stuff today. But if you missed last weekend, it's on Spotify and YouTube as long as the internet exists. So you can check it out there. I want to start out today with a question. How many of you have ever done a do-it-yourself project? Come on, raise your hand if you've ever almost died doing a DIY project. Listen, they never go as smoothly as you plan them to go, do they? I've seen the Property Brothers on HGTV before, and they always go perfectly, and it's done in 30 minutes. That is not reality TV, all right? That is not real life. And so last weekend, I had my own do-it-yourself project, and I had ordered these 2 outdoor cameras for our house. I ordered them on Black Friday, got a really good deal, and they came in the mail, so I was going to mount these 2 cameras on my house, and I opened up the box, and the camera mount only had 2 screws to it. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Everything. Every single thing. Okay. And so I read the instructions and it said to mount the camera 6 to 8 feet high. So I was like, I'm totally going to ignore that. I'm going to mount it 15 feet high for maximum security. Okay. So I got my 12-foot ladder out. I put my 12-foot ladder up against the house. I grabbed my Pop-Up's old wired Craftsman drill, baby. And I start climbing up the ladder to, 15-foot install this thing. And I get up there, I get the screw out of my pocket. And what happens to the screw? I dropped it every single time, people. But I have a second screw because it's a 2-screw project. I pull that screw out. What happens to that screw? Drop that screw. Literally 17 trips up and down this ladder, retrieving screws, a FaceTime call with both stinking Dukes. Which is true. Afterwards, listen, I DIY'd the crud out of that 2-screw mount after 17 trips up and down the ladder. But I wanted to take it a step further. I wanted to hardwire the camera so it had like some power to it, so I wouldn't have to go up a 12-foot ladder 4 times a year to change out the battery to a camera that's 15 feet in the air. It's only supposed to be up 6 to 8 feet in the air. Okay, you all follow me? So my goal was to cut a 1/2-inch hole in my soffit so I could run the power line into my attic and plug the camera into my attic. This is going to go well, right, people? Wrong. Okay. So I climbed back up the 12-foot ladder with my Craftsman wire drill, and I got the hole, the 1/2-inch hole, and that went pretty well, surprisingly. But then I had to go in my attic to try to fish the wire precisely to the 1/2-inch hole, and I could not see the hole because of the situation. And so I'm trying to balance myself on the rafters. I'm trying not to get my head up in the roof where all the roofing nails are because I got a bald head and this thing will bleed, people. And I cannot fish the wire to the hole. It is not working out, okay? So is anybody surprised that this is not working out? Anybody? No, absolutely not. So I needed help. I needed somebody who was handier than me. I need somebody who was smarter than me. I needed somebody who was way better looking than me. I needed my wife, people. Okay, so I pulled my wife into the project, and I asked her if she would go into the attic to do the fishing part, because I was like, that's a safer, easier job. And so I set her, in the attic, and then I went outside, and I'm on the outside of the house, she's on the inside of the house, I'm on the top of the ladder, and she's trying to fish the wire to me, and it is not coming to the half-inch hole, and so we started arguing. From the outside to the inside, arguing. Listen, it's not a do-it-yourself project unless you're arguing, right, people? And so Stacy was like, I've had it. I'm going to come out. I'm going to get on the ladder, and you get up in here in the attic. And I was trying to tell her, like, you have the better job. You have the safer job. But Stacy was not hearing it. And so she came outside, and she started climbing up the ladder. And she gets to the top of the ladder. I'm holding the bottom of the ladder. She gets to the top of the ladder, and she's like, this is so high. It's like, why are we mounting? Are we supposed to mount the camera 15 feet in the air? I was like, I'm pleading the fifth. I'm not answering that question. And so she's on the top of the ladder at this point, and she thinks she's going to die. And so no lie, she comes down the ladder. She goes into the attic because she's scared to death to be on top of the ladder. She puts this helmet on. I am not kidding. And she climbs back to the top of the ladder. Now, listen, my neighbors, this camera's on the front of my house, all right? 100%. We are the weird people on the street anyway. And now the pastor's wife is on the top of the ladder with this helmet on. I'm standing at the bottom of the ladder, and we are arguing with each other. This is not a good look, people. This is not how it goes on HGTV. But Stacy said she was wearing this helmet because, in her words, she was in survival mode. Because any project with the pastor, the main goal is survival. Okay, that's the main goal. Everybody say survival. Survival. Listen, the reason I tell you this story, I'll take this helmet off. I'm going to put it on back a little bit later. I lost my mic. There it is. But the reason I tell you that story is because during this pandemic, we've all spent some time at the top of the ladder in survival mode. Isn't that true? I mean, we are 21 months into this pandemic, and it feels like we are in survival mode. I don't know if you remember, but when this whole thing started 21 months ago, we went into lockdown. You guys, you remember lockdown? Yeah, you're in lockdown, which meant you were stuck at home with your family for days, months. You're stuck at home with your boo for months. You were stuck at home with your snotty-nosed little kids for months. Somebody say survival mode. Now, if you needed to leave your house and go to like the Giant, you put a face mask on. You put another face mask on. You put a face shield on, and you put your helmet on. And if you were in the Giant, in the cereal aisle, and you so much as everybody ran out, the aisle cleared. Everybody screamed. People were jumping through the glass window of the Giant. You were in the Cape Gazette. It was wild. Listen, and then on top of that, you couldn't find toilet paper. If you did have Lysol wipes, you could trade 2 cans of Lysol wipes for a brand new Tesla. My gym, this is true, they put up shower curtains around every single treadmill. The first time I went back to the gym, I'm running I might as well have been in my bath. I was like, if I've had shampoo, I'll just start going. But we spent some time in survival mode. And we've been in survival mode for 21 months. Some local businesses are in survival mode. I saw a local Subway was hiring starting at $15 an hour. I was like, well, Pastor Cotter's a new pastor. I'm making subs. Like local healthcare workers, like my wife, in survival mode. And maybe you feel like you're in survival mode, all right? You're just trying to survive a job loss. You're trying to survive, an addiction, or you're trying to survive, money being tight, or you're trying to survive a do-it-yourself project with your husband. I don't know. But I do know 21 months into this pandemic, it seems like things are ramping up again. Doesn't it feel like there is no end in sight to this pandemic? Doesn't it feel like that to you? Does it feel like that to me? And so this week I was thinking about that. And I was thinking, I'm tired of just trying to survive, and I'm ready to thrive again. I'm curious, is anybody here ready to get out of survival mode and helmet mode and get into comeback mode? Anybody ready to get into comeback mode? Ready to get into comeback mode. Listen, at what point do we get to take the helmet off? And do we get to stop trying to just survive the pandemic? And what point do we get to start dreaming and thriving again? Because I want to dream again. Everybody just say, I want to dream again. I want to dream again. Can I show you something in the Bible? I mean, we're in church. Is it okay if I show you something in the Bible? All right, this is going to be in the book of Isaiah. And here's the setup. The Israelites have been in survival mode. They went through a tough season. I mean, they got exiled to Egypt. They spent 40 years in the wilderness. We've been 21 months, 40 years, just like, look at that dirt pile. Saw that yesterday. Okay, so they've been in like survival mode. And this is what God says to them. Isaiah 43, verse 18. God says, but forget all that. Oh, yeah. I know you've been in survival mode, but God says, forget all that. For just a second, forget all that. And he says, it is nothing compared to what I am going to do. For I am about to do something new. Everybody say, God's doing something new. New year, he's doing something new. He says, see, I've already begun. Do you not see it? We'll come back to that. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through your wilderness. I will create rivers in your dry wasteland. In other words, God's like, listen, I know you're in survival mode, but I'm still moving. I'm still working. Can't you see it? But have you noticed that sometimes we don't see something until we look for it? You noticed that before? For instance, this past summer, my grass was in survival mode. Anybody ever had a pandemic in your yard? Yeah, that ever happened to anybody before? Oh, man. So here's what happened. All right. In the spring, I had the best looking grass on my street. I did. My grass, I had all the respect of my neighbors. This was before they saw Stacy at the top of the ladder with a helmet on. But I had all the respect of the neighbors. True story. When your grass looks good, people on your street you've never talked to, they will stop in front of your house. They would be like, oh, man, you got the best looking grass on the street. I was thinking of holding a press conference in the cul-de-sac. Like, I just want to thank my wife and the Lord and these nutrients in my grass. Like, I was feeling so good. And then June happened. And in June, my yard went in spiritual attack. I mean, it was a supernatural attack, okay? The demons of wiregrass and nutgrass and crabgrass attacked my yard, you guys. And my neighbors stopped talking to me. People start letting their dogs do their business in my yard. Because clearly anybody whose yard looks like that, who cares if the Mastiff just goes all over the yard? And so it was bad in June. Now, my wife, she couldn't see the weeds. She didn't know they were weeds. And so she was like, oh, the grass is good. I'm like, no. Okay, so I took Stacy on a little walk around. And I was like, honey, look, all right, we are under nuclear attack in our yard. Okay, I said, you see that tall, evil thing? Nutgrass, demonic. You see that spidery looking thing? Crabgrass, evil. Okay, and you see this thing, the one that's like running, that looks like a vine. That's the worst of them all. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers of weeds. Wiregrass, okay? So I pointed all this stuff out there, and now before the conversation, you said, Stacey, how's the yard look? She went, oh, it looks good. After that conversation, and then Stacey's never been the same. She took me on a yard walk around a few days later, and she's like, honey, we need to assess the situation. She's like, honey, we got nutgrass here, and we have wiregrass here, and we got crabgrass all over the place. I'm like, I know. This is why our neighbors don't respect us anymore. This is why the Mastiffs are disrespecting our yard. Now, this coming summer is the year of the comeback for my yard. Okay, it's coming back. But I tell you that because sometimes you don't see something until you start looking for it. And spiritually in your life, when you start praying like, God, would you help me to see what you're doing new in my life right now? Even though I'm in survival mode, God, would you help me to see the good things in my life, even though I see in all these weeds? God, would you help me to have something to look forward to? Because I'm going to need a helmet to get through this season that I'm in. Okay, when you start to do that, you start to see things you didn't see before. You start to see the good things, not the weeds. You start to see the good things that God is doing. And you start dreaming again. You start thriving again. And when you look at your life different, listen, you can have the comeback year in 2022. Because we find what we're looking for. Isn't that true? We find what we're looking for. So if you're taking notes, write this down. If you're not taking notes, go ahead and write this down. Here's my point today. If you want to start dreaming again, see the good in your current season. If you want to start dreaming again, see the good in your current season. Now, life is full of seasons. Like I remember one season that I'll never forget was diaper season. Come on, where are my parents at? You know about diaper season. Listen, only parents know what it's like to have a blowout so bad with your kid that the onesie is not going to survive. So you get the scissors out. You cut the onesie off and you throw it directly in the trash. Come on, parents, who's done it? Who's been there? It's a rite of passage. Been there. Listen, it's traumatic. Now, I remember the first diaper I ever changed was my daughter Nora's first diaper. Now, you remember the first diaper? Yep. Listen, it's like an alien planet what happens in the first diaper. There's no preparing for it, okay? And how a beautiful baby can do that. I will never it's the life's greatest mystery, okay? That's what, but when we were in the hospital with both my kids, Nora and Nixon, I changed their diapers the whole time. And in the hospital, they supply you diapers. Yes. But the moment you roll out of there, you are the diaper supplier now, okay? You are 100% of your disposable income is now going to disposable underpants. And my kids are 20 months apart, which means for almost 5 years, I was dropping $45 on boxes of diapers like every second. I thought I was going to be in diapers myself before I stopped buying diapers. It was crazy, all right? But now, listen, now my kids, they're 6 and 8. No more diapers in our house, praise the Lord. But now that they're a little older, I miss when my kids were so small I could hold them like a football, you know? Like I miss that. Now I don't miss blowouts, okay? I can go my whole life without seeing one of those again. But sometimes you don't see the good in the season that you're in until after you're out the season. You know what I mean? Like when me and my wife Stacey first got married, we were so poor. All right, we couldn't afford to go to KFC and lick other people's fingers. We were poor. We had no money. And at the time, I thought, Mom, this is a horrible season. I look back, and that was one of the best seasons of my life. When the pandemic started, it was a crisis season. I was stuck at home. We were all stuck at home. But looking back on it, the time I got to spend with my wife and my kids at home, like that was a blessing. And you know what? There is hard stuff in every season, but in every season, you can either see the crisis or you can see the blessing. In every season, you can see the crisis or you can see the blessing. And so maybe right now, you're in a season of starting up your business, and you're like working 80 hours a week. You haven't seen the sunlight, and you're in a basement right now, so you haven't seen the sunlight forever. And you're like, I just can't stand this season anymore. But listen, you're in a season where you're building your dream. It's a great season. Maybe you're going to college full-time while working full-time, and you haven't, slept since Christmas. And you're over the season. But let me tell you, you're in a season where you're building a foundation that will change your future. Maybe you're single right now and you want to be in the love season. Let's get it on. Okay, whatever. You're in that season. That's all you can think about. But listen, in this season, you are free to travel. You are free to dive into your hobbies. You are free, to watch whatever you want to watch on Netflix without anybody else's input. Praise the Lord, okay? And so life is full of seasons, and I want you to see the good of the season that you're in, because there's good, there's blessing in the season that you're in, and you might not see it until afterwards. Like many of you know this, but during the pandemic, I've told you this like 75 times, but when everything locked down, my kids' school got locked down, and I became my kids' default substitute teacher, which was terrifying for me and more terrifying for my kids, okay? Like, it was not a blessing at the time. And I'm not built to teach kids academics. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I got the lowest SAT score in my class. There's qualification issues here, people. But I was the best my kids had. So every day I'd sit down with them. I do homeschooling. And it was brutal at the time. And I did not enjoy it. For not for 21 months, for about a year and a half, that's what I did. Now, the kids are back in school, thank the Lord. But I didn't really see the blessing in that season, but last Sunday night, we go home, and last Sunday night, my daughter, she says she wants to read The Grinch to the family. And little Nora, she's in second grade now. And so we all sat down, and she got Dr. Seuss's book out, and she started reading The Grinch to our family like a pro. Like she is Dr. Seuss, okay? Like, she just did an amazing job reading it, and I was sitting there listening to her read The Grinch, and I thought, I did that. This SAT failing pastor did that. Like, I did that. And without the lockdown, I never would have got that opportunity. It never would have happened. And now I see what happened as that situation, or at least me homeschooling to my kids, that was a blessing, not a burden. And so here's my question. What's the blessing in the season that you're in? What's the blessing? And you might say, blessing? Why don't you come over to my house after church, Pastor Joel? There's no blessing. My house, it's like the Jerry Springer show. Listen, you can change the channel though, can't you? Because at the same time that the Jerry Springer show was on, you know what else was on TV? The Wonder Years. Come on. Who knows about Fred Savage and the Wonder Years? Woo! And so you can choose to watch the Jerry Springer show and see the Jerry Springer show, or you can choose to see the Wonder Years. Because I'm telling you, there is good in every season. There is a blessing in the season that you're in. And when you see the good in the season that you're in, you start dreaming again. You start to come back. And we all need something to dream about. And you might have been the Jerry Springer show commenter. You might also be saying, like, I dream? I don't know how to start dreaming about anything, and so I'm going to help. The church is here to help. All right, so here's some kickstarters for you to dream, things you can dream about. We'll put this on the screen. You can dream about something you want to accomplish, like coming over to my house and installing my security system, something you want to do. You can dream about something you want to accomplish. You can dream about somehow you want to grow, maybe physically or spiritually or emotionally or professionally. You can dream about somewhere you want to go. Bora Bora. I want to be on some beach somewhere. Come on, do you miss 80 and sunny? Anybody miss 80 and sunny? Oh, man. There's a fourth one on here. I think we can all dream that Tom Brady doesn't win the Super Bowl this year. That's my dream. But what are you dreaming about? What's one thing that you're dreaming about in this season? And I think if you are kind of just surviving this season, if you want to thrive, write down one dream that you have and write that same dream down every single day. And the reason I say write it down every day is because I read an article this week that says you have a 42% greater chance of reaching your dream if you'll write it down every single day. 42% chance goes up. Some of you should have just grabbed like the card in the back of your seat and been like, I dream of marrying that girl 3 rows in front of me. She works up real nice. Anyway, but when you just write it down every single day, that same dream, now don't write down 365 new dreams a year. That's never going to work. Just write down the same dream over and over and over again every day. And that your chances go up 42% of you reaching that dream. And we need all the help we can get, people. And so what do you dream about? And the reason we got to dream is because when you look forward, you will move forward. When you look forward, you'll keep moving forward. So what are you dreaming about? Now, if you were to ask my son Nixon a month ago what his dream was, he would say his dream was lightning bolts in the side of his hair. That's a 6-year-old's dream right there. And Nixon, every day, he thought about his lightning bolts in the side of his hair. He definitely talked about his lightning bolts every single day. Now, I'm his barber because I'm cheap. And I do not do lightning bolts. I got 2 cuts. I have like the classic fade, and I have the marine shave. That's all you got when you come to Joel, all right? And so Nixon wanted these lightning bolts in his hair. I wouldn't do it. And so last Sunday, I come home from church, and, well, here's a picture. This is what Nixon looked like when he came home from church. Yeah. I was like, you are not getting in the Marines with this haircut. That's not. And Nixon said, Daddy, look what Mommy did. I'm like, that's because I put her up on that ladder. That's what this is about. But Nixon, let me tell you, his outlook this last week has totally changed. He's more confident than he was before. He can pedal his bike faster than he could before. And for the first time in all of his life, he's looked forward to go to school to show his friends his lightning bolts. The power of a dream, man. My mom, if you were to ask my mom in the fall what her dream was, she would have said, my dream is to be able to ride my bike again. And here's why. My mom, a couple years ago, she had knee replacement surgery. So she got a mechanical knee put in, and so we started calling her Terminator because she had like a sci-fi knee. And but when they did a surgery on that one knee, that leg got a half an inch shorter. And so for the last couple of years, my mom, she's been tilted to the left, okay? She's a half an inch shorter on this side. Now, my mom needed her other knee done, and so this fall, she decided to get her other knee done so she could be like totally Terminator and get 2 knees done. And so she got both knees done, and the good news is now both legs are half an inch shorter. So she's straight now, okay? So that's good. The bad news is my mom hasn't been able to ride her bike ever since. And my mom, she's got the junkiest bike, but she loves her bike. She's on that bike as much as she can get on that bike. And her dream is to get on that bike. And that dream, after her surgery of getting on that bike, kept her pushing through the pain. It kept her going to physical therapy. And then on New Year's Day, my mom sent our whole family this text. She says, this is the T-Fam text group. Happy New Year, T-Fam. The year ahead will most definitely have great blessings and probably a few bumps, but we will trust in Jesus all the way. Love y'all. By the way, I rode my bike 2 miles today. Yippee. Yes. Look, Mom did it. And then she sent us a picture later on, and so here's her picture of her on her bike. Mominator is back. But listen, dreams keep us moving forward. If you want to look forward and move forward, you got to keep dreaming. And so I'm here to tell somebody, if you want to move forward, maybe you're stuck where you're at right now, keep dreaming. Find something to dream about. And I don't know what that dream is for you, but listen, I don't want anything, including this pandemic, to be our dream terminator. You know what I mean? And so maybe your dream is that you get healthy enough to ride your bike with your grandkids. That's a great dream. Maybe your dream is to buy an RV so you can ride out to California. Maybe your dream after you buy the RV is to get out of debt because you've gotten a lot of debt with the RV. Maybe your dream is to get sober. Maybe your dream is to meet somebody who is a man who loves Jesus and has a job. Look, everybody can dream, all right? My dream is that the Ravens will hand Ben Roethlisberger a loss on the final career game he has. That's all I want today, people. That's it. But I'm tired of just surviving, and I want to dream again. And you might say, well, but Joel, it's a weird thing to talk about right now because people are getting sick, and I had to get back into my face mask stash. Did you got a stash? They're all on your car pokey things, right? Maybe you feel like your life is a mess and you're like, there's nothing I can dream about. There's nothing I can be happy about right now. Can I tell you a story about my Monday to kind of help with that? On Monday, it snowed. It was Snowmageddon in Sussex County. Y'all get some snow? Listen, when it snows, if you're new to Sussex County, you just need to know this. Number one, you can't get bread. You can't get milk. And you do not want to drive down Route 24 because we have no idea how to drive in the snow. I mean, it is awful. Like my kids' school canceled school on Sunday for Monday. It hadn't even so much as thought of flurrying. And the school was like, we can't drive in that. Shut it down. And so on Monday, my kids were home, and I was in my office at home working, and it started to snow. And I took a picture out of my office window of what I was looking at. It's just barely starting to snow. And that's my daughter, Nora. If you can, I think we have another picture. If we can zoom all the way in. There we go. This is Nora. And Nora, listen, she's eating snow. But you know there's not enough snow on the ground yet. She's definitely eating grass. My crabgrass, which is why I'm okay with it. Okay, so anyway, I'm looking at this, having a great view watching her. But then I found out that Governor Carney declared a state of emergency in Delaware on Monday. And it wasn't for the snow. It was because of COVID. And so all of a sudden, I started going to flashbacks of lockdowns and preaching in an empty room to just some cameras. I'm like not thinking about Bora Bora. I'm just thinking about surviving. And I started to change the way I thought. And I thought about Psalm 23. And I don't know if you know Psalm 23, but Psalm 23, the writer is in his own survival mode. And let me read a couple lines from what he says, and you'll know what this is once I start reading it. He says, remember, he's in survival mode. He says, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Like I'm in survival mode, but I don't have anything to fear because God, you're walking with me. And then, and maybe the greatest line or one of the greatest lines in the entire Bible, he says, surely your goodness and love, God, will follow me all the days of my life. And I read that in my office in the snow. I had like a Pentecostal moment. I was like, woo! Because I thought, you know what, Governor, he can shut it all down. Shut down the schools, shut down the library, shut down the Wawas. I hope you don't, but shut it all down. And I'm going to be okay. Because God's goodness and love follow me through the last season of this, and his goodness and love will follow me through the next season of this. And so I think somebody came to church to hear this today. You're going to be okay. You are going to survive. Because God's goodness and love, it follows us. You can't get rid of it. You can't do like a Lamar Jackson juke move and like fake it out. Like it is as close as your shadow. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. Surely your goodness and love will follow you all the days of your life. Surely, God, your goodness and love will follow us all the days of our life. Somebody needs to just close your eyes and soak this in. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. Somebody needs to believe that today. Surely, God, your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. Surely, God, your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. I love that. Listen, my God is not in survival mode. Listen, God has one mode, and it is not survival. It is that he is good. When Stacey and I were broke and we were first married, God was still good. When I was depressed for 2 years and I lost all my dreams, God was still good. When we went to the doctor when Stacey was pregnant with my son Nixon, and the doctor broke the news to us that Nixon had 2 cysts in his brain, and he told us the outcome, and I can't even say it out loud, but God was still good. When this pandemic happened and shut our church down, and I didn't know what was going to happen, God was still good. When I was 30 years old, and I became a campus pastor in a church in a basement, I had no idea what I was doing, and I still don't. God was still good. In 2001, when I met my wife, when I was a snotty-nosed little kid and I was 20 years old, I didn't know what was up from down. Listen, there's no way I should have been able to marry that girl. But he did miracles, okay? Because God is still good. He's still good. Why? Because his goodness and love, it follows us. You can run from it, but it won't run from you. It's as close as your shadow. And so we have hope in this season that we're in. And the reason we have hope is because if God's goodness and love follows through the last season, it will follow us into the next season, and it'll follow us all the days of our life. That's why I have confidence right there. Listen, my confidence in this season is not in politics. Hello. My confidence in this season is not in a face mask or not a face mask. It's not in a face shield or not a face shield. It's not in a vaccine or not a vaccine. It's not in a booster or not a booster. My confidence is in God. It's in God. And I'm not saying any of that other stuff is bad, but I am saying that none of that stuff is as good as my God. None of it. And so, I don't know what's going to happen in this next season. I know we've been through a hard season, but I do know what Isaiah 43 says. Isaiah 43 says this. Again, we open up with this. God says, forget all that. It is nothing compared to what I am going to do. For I am about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I'll create rivers in the dry wasteland. Listen, that's what my hope is in. My hope is in the fact that he is creating pathways and he's creating rivers for us. And I can't read the Bible without seeing a theme, that God is for us and that he loves to bless us. He is for us and he loves to bless us. He is for us and he loves to bless us. And so we can move out of helmet mode and we can move out of survival mode and we can move into comeback mode. And so I'm going to end today a little different. The band, you guys can come on up, and we're going to sing a final song before we get out of here. And I don't want to weird anybody out, but I wrote down sort of some blessings that I want to read over our church and read for you in your life. And I want you to just feel these words. I want these words to just help you come back, help you thrive again, help you dream again. And so could you all stand up, and I think, can we bring the lights down in the room? And while I'm reading this, you can close your eyes if you just need that to focus, or you can open your eyes wide open, or you can put your hands out, whatever. But I just want to read what I wrote for you this week. Jesus, I pray that your goodness and love continues to follow our Bay Shore family. I pray that we'll believe that you are God, a God that loves to bless. I pray that we'll know that you are good and that your love is closer than our shadow. I pray that we'll have faith that you want to bless us. I pray that you'll bless our families. I pray that you'll bless our marriages. I pray that you'll bless our kids. I pray that you'll bless our grandkids. I pray that you'll bless our relationships. I pray that you'll bless our friendships. I pray that you'll bless our health. I pray that you'll bless our mental health. I pray that you'll bless our fight against addiction. I pray that you'll bless our fight against sin. I pray that you'll bless us with safety. I pray that you'll bless us with hope for tomorrow and make us dream again. I pray that you'll bless us by showing us how to reach those dreams. I pray that you'll bless our finances, our homes, our cars. I pray that you'll bless us with all the things that money can't buy. I pray that you'll bless our efforts. I pray that you'll bless us with love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and gentleness and self-control. I pray that you'll bless us with eyes to see all the good we have in the season we're in. I pray that you'll bless us to believe that you are for us, that you are for me, that you are for Ed, that you are for Jeff, that you are for Nate and Jess. I pray that you'll just help us know that you are for us. You are for us, so we are blessed because you go in front of us and you go behind us and you go beside us. You are in front of us and you are behind us and you go beside us. And so may the Lord bless us and keep us, and may your face shine upon us. May your favor be upon me. May your favor be upon us. You are our blessing. You're the blessing, Jesus. Bless us with your presence. Bless us with your goodness and love. Amen. 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 Bless us and bless our church.